Don't know what to buy that beer-loving person in your life for Christmas? Well, Beer Santa is here to help. Hello and welcome back to the channel, and yes, today we're taking a look at the top 10 beer related gifts to buy that beer loving person in your life this Christmas. And number 10, I believe to be one of the most well considered and thoughtful beer based Christmas gifts anyone could receive. So stay tuned for that one, but let's not waste any time, straight into it with number 1. Now yes, it's a bit of a cop-out, but let's be honest, if you know what beer that person in your life really likes, you could do far worse than buying them some of it. Now I appreciate lots of you are watching this video because you don't know what beer that person in your life likes, or what beer is even good. You don't know where to start, so get subscribed now, because in a later video I am going to go through my top picks for beer buying actual beer this Christmas time. But for those that don't want to necessarily go down that route, we'll get on to the following 9 options. In at number 9 though is a beer subscription. This way you can buy beer, but you're not necessarily responsible for the choices of what was bought, so that kind of takes that pressure off you a little bit. There are lots of companies out there offering beer subscription services, from monthly, bi-monthly and so on. Some of them are great, some of them are not. I'm not going to sit here and slate particular brands, but what I will say is that some of the more widely available ones don't have great reviews. So do yourself a favour and get on Trustpilot and Google reviews and all that before making a decision. My pro tip for this is to either find a local bottle shop that will do a subscription service. Here in Nottingham we have one called Adventure Beer Company, and they do monthly boxes as well as individual sales that are fantastic. Or if you know what brand of beer this person in your life likes, even if not the specific, what's the word I'm looking for? Specific beers. I keep wanting to say models. They're not models of beer, Tom. Anyway, you get the idea. If you know what brewery they like, then get a subscription from a brewery can be a fantastic way to go about doing it as well. In at number 3, we have glassware. There is nothing better than the right beer in the right glass. I know a lot of people say, it's nonsense, just pour it into a regular pint glass. And look, that works for a lot of traditional British ales because, well, those generic pint glasses are where those beers originated, therefore it makes sense. But soon as you start to delve into other markets, Belgian, German, so on, the correct glassware really does make a massive difference. Now, there are a few ways to go about this. Again, if you know the style of beer that they like, you can try and make an educated guess. You can search for, well, if you search for a German glass Stein, that will probably come up. It's not really what it's called because Stein means stone, but you get the idea. This nice tall looking thing, that's a Weiss beer glass. So if they like wheated beers, that's a great shout. Then of course, this being a Lef or Leffe glass is a Belgian goblet. And look, you don't have to get the branded ones. There are unbranded ones out there, but if you don't know what to buy and they just, you know they're into beer, nice, interesting looking branded glassware can make some people extraordinarily happy, and I am one of those people. Now, I appreciate a lot of the stuff in this video is quite vague. It is ideas, not specific products, but where possible, I will, in the description, leave links to where you can buy these glasses, this glasses, other types of glasses to help you along your purchasing journey. And sorry, but I've got to say it, but some of those links will be affiliate links, which means if you purchase through them, I might get a little kickback. It won't cost you anymore, and yeah, it's just mandatory for me to say it. Just being transparent. In at number 4, we have beer books. I always think just sitting down with a really good beer and some literature about, well, just beer in general, doesn't have to be the beer you're drinking, is just a very pleasant way to spend an evening. This, incidentally, is the only beer book I have, so if someone wants to buy me some others, great, I would very much appreciate it. But this is a homebrew beer guide. Now, I've not included much about homebrew in this video because unless that person in your life is very hands-on, very practical, and very, well, willing to throw themselves into something 110%, homebrew often comes out a bit disappointing. So it's kind of a little extra freebie 11th idea, but homebrew kits are good, but most of the cheap ones are rubbish anyway. So it's a bit of a hazardous area if you were thinking about it, unless you yeah, go down that particular route. If you are going to go, there's a company called Getter Brewed, Get ER Brewed, that are particularly good in terms of kits, but yes, it's not an official recommendation, but just gonna throw it out there. But anyway, if you have got someone that's into homebrew, then this recipe book is absolutely fantastic. I'll link that below. In addition to that, I've got two other books I would like to recommend. The first one is the Good Beer Guide 2025. This every year is a new release. They tell you the latest and greatest beers available. It's UK centric, I believe, and as a result, people in the UK will get a better idea and a better availability of a lot of the recommendations in that book. Of course, there's a load of classics in there, and some new great releases as well. Something that's a particularly good gift for people who want to stay on the ball in terms of the most up-to-date releases from breweries. And on the flip side of that, we have a book that's quite a few years old now, but it's 1001 Beers to Try Before You Die. I sat with this book in my local tap room, Totally Taps, a few weeks ago, and I was just continually flicking through every page going, tried it, not tried it, tried it, not tried it. It's a great game to play while you're having a beer, and it's just, it gives you the background, it gives you the history, and it's basically 1001 iconic beers. It's not just kind of latest fad releases, of which there are some fantastic ones, but this is proper. It is old school to a degree, but you know, it's the classics, it's the things you really should try to get a really good understanding of each and every beer style. Next in at number 5, if you're looking to splash a bit more cash this Christmas, you could go far worse than a proper quality mini fridge. Yes, this is going to be a lot more expensive than your average gift, but if this is for a particularly special someone that needs a particularly special treat, you definitely could do far worse. I'm going to give you some options, and it's really just the idea. Look, if you go down to Amazon, Argos, whatever, and look at those sub £100 little fridges, they're not going to do much. Don't bother, they are just cheap tat effectively. But if you are going to go whole hog, I've got two recommendations for you. If it's for this kind of setting, a little studio come beer area, I don't want to use the word man cave, but we're all thinking, you know what I mean, that kind of setup, then the brand Sub Cold is particularly good. It's who I use for my beer fridge. I've never had an issue with it, and you can probably see it on screen now with lots of lovely looking things inside. But yes, these are a big strong recommendation, and I'll put a link to a couple of different sizes of these in the description. In addition to that, if this person in your life also likes camping or caravanning and, you know, might want a fridge to take on their adventures, Dometic are the best. There are cheaper alternatives out there, but if you want a genuine top grade, go anywhere, do anything, low energy consumption beer fridge, Dometic is absolutely where it is at. And if you've got that person and they don't think they can power a fridge, well, we've got to give a shout out to Yeti coolers, but again, definitely not the cheapest thing going. Number 6, and you'll be very pleased to know the price point has come way, way down. This is probably going to be an obvious one, and I'm talking about these bottle openers. Now, these are available at all price points, from pennies, literal pennies, through to 15, 20, up to 50 quid in some extreme cases. And there are lots of variables out there. I've got this one from Duvel, Belgian brand, and I've got one from my local brewery, Blue Monkey. I do particularly like these bar blade ones. It's got branding on either side, and I know it's not really for it, but you can just spin it around and it's just a bit of a fidget toy. But if you let that go, it will break things, as I have found out. And then there's my personal favorite bottle opener, which is this one. This is from a company called Hope Technology. They make bike parts, basically mountain bike and road cycling components, because I'm a bit of a bike geek. This is milled out of some billet aluminium. This is a representation of one of their disc brakes on the end there. It's just a very nice tactile thing. I genuinely, when receiving bottle openers, go, okay, another bottle opener, like I've not got a million of those. This has slowly etched its way just into my subconscious, and I want to use it every time I open a beer. I don't use it on the channel all that often because it's quite thick, and some bottles get a bit awkward to open, and when you're trying to do a demonstration, it can look a bit naff. But when I'm not filming, I use this almost exclusively. In addition to these though, I went on Etsy and had a look at what they had to offer in terms of customized parts, and I'll be honest, I was a little bit blown away. There was, you know, custom engraved leather, really top end looking stuff. And if that doesn't tickle your pickle, it certainly does for me, if you want to go real silly, you can now get bottle openers that effectively load it into a cap gun, a literal beer cap gun that you can fire across the room. I would imagine yeah, I mean, I'm not going to recommend it. It sounds dangerous, but some fun certainly could be had. And yes, for your curiosity, those are most definitely linked in the description below. In at number 7, we have beer or brewery merchandise. These are things that you can go take away, use over and over again, help support your local brewery, and well, that person in your life might actually get some use out of. Now, there is loads of beer merch out there that's not brewery specific, or indeed is brewery specific, that is just, well, it's novelty Christmas nonsense, like this Hobgoblin Christmas t-shirt I'm wearing right now, which is great for this time of year for a bit of fun, but ultimately it's not really something you get use of all year round. But a lot of breweries now, especially the smaller ones, are producing some absolute gems. So Blue Monkey Brewery, my local, do these lovely kind of cloth bar runners. Now it's not quite big enough for my bar here, but I actually use this for mopping up beer spills a lot of the time, and it washes absolutely fantastically. It's cold outside right now. Cats are a big thing. See, these don't look like brewery merch. This is a nice genuine beanie that I can just sling on at any point and keep the old egg warm, which I just very much like. This one is from Seven Brothers and comes with a nice beautiful leather patch. Again, I'm not recommending these specific things, but it's just an idea. This beanie I got the other week from Totally Tapped, my local tap room. Again, just it works, and it's been snowing outside, so I'm thankful for it. And of course, t-shirts. Black Isle Brewery do their gorgeous looking things like that. I mean, you can wear that anywhere. It looks like a nice bit of merch, and I'm sorry that it's not well ironed, but yeah, this one actually doesn't fit me, which is why, and the same is true over here as well for the Glen Speed one, which I think is particularly nice looking. It's got a bit of an outdoorsy vibe to it. So what I'm saying is, don't go and buy what I've got here, but go down to your local brewery or onto this person's favourite brewery shop online, see what merch they've got, because they really might appreciate it. And while you're down at your local brewery shop, that leads us on to number 8. Brewery tours. You can get physical vouchers for brewery tours, like I've got here from my local brewery, Blue Monkey, but you can get them online, you can get them anywhere, you can get digital ones, and this allows you to go around the brewery, normally getting some free samples at the end. What does it say on here? 3 pint glass, 2 pints of beer, and some food, and a tour by one of our brewers. I'll be honest, I think these are a fantastic idea to get that person in your life to go and see where their favourite beer is made, experience it, talk to the brewers of it. Is just, it can be a genuine experience. And I think unless you've been in a brewery properly, it's really not what you're expecting and can get very interesting indeed. And of course, you can always buy them 2 tickets, so you get to go along with them. And in a very similar vein, number 9 is tickets to a beer event. Whether this is a tasting at a local craft beer bar, whether this is one of the many beer festivals that exist around the world, these are great ways to do it. If you just search beer festival or beer tasting event and your area name on Google, a lot of stuff is pretty likely to come up reasonably close by. Not for everyone, I grant you, but for a lot of us it will happen. And if this person in your life doesn't always go to these events, well, it can be a great way in, because quite often a lot of people don't want to go to beer events on their own, and if they've not got friends who are into it and what have you, it can feel like a bit of a, well, just a bit of an awkwardness. So a great present could be for you and them to go to one of these fantastic beer tasting events. The bigger the better in some ways, although there are examples like Totally Tapped, so I've already mentioned I think 3 times now in this video, my local craft tap room thing, put on an Imperial Stout night once a year, at least once a year, and that is sublime, which has just reminded me I can't make it to this year, which just made me very sad. But anyway, you get the idea. There are events out there, go buy some tickets, because it would make a beautiful gift. And finally, number 10, the big one, the one that I said shows the most thought, the most consideration, and is just maybe the nicest gift you could receive as a beer lover. Now, it kind of loops back around to number 1, where we just said, buy some beers. And yes, you could, but you could do so much more. You could make them their ultimate beer hamper, and you can do this with or without knowing what beer they really like. Now, if you do know what beer they like, go and buy it and some others and put them in a big hamper, fill it up with stuff, and more importantly, not just beer, bar snacks, you know, the whole works. You can put some tickets in there as well to an event, make it really an all singing, all dancing, festive event. But if you don't know what beer to put in this magnificent hamper, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to send you links to, I'm going to go for 5 different multi-box buys that I think will appeal to a mass market. Yes, I can't account for absolutely everyone, but what I'm going to do is select 5 hampers from different locations that really showcase a selection of high quality beers. Maybe they won't all be to everyone's perfect taste, but when the beer is genuinely of high quality, most people are going to like the majority of them, and that is what's really important. But as I say, fill it up with pretzels, peanuts, the works, their favorite snacks. Gift it to them. You can make this as big or small as you like, and that's also another great part about it. But the fact that you've accumulated it, you've put it together, shows that you really do care. And I, for one, would be very, very happy to receive that as a gift this Christmas. And to be honest, that is all I've got to say about it. So as I say, if you want to know more about specific beers to buy this year, get subscribed, because I will be doing a video on that very soon. But otherwise, that is really all I've got to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you will be so kind, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.